Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome back to Dunham House Diaries. You'll be pleased to know, ladies and gentlemen, that the sunshine has returned to Staffordshire in full force. And whilst the cats relax in the dappled shade of the Lysimachia punctata, we are spending an extortionate amount of time freeing butterflies from our billiard room. Any ideas why our billiard room should be full of butterflies? Anywho, I digress. Now, some of you might remember a few months ago we took our cast iron radiators all the way up to the RadRestore Radiator Sanatorium in Stockport. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are very excited to announce that they are back. We are extremely fond of the cast iron radiators here at Dunham House. If you hadn't realised by now, when we bought our home, we discovered an immeasurable and irreplaceable amount of history. Now, some people would have called for a skip, but we called for a container and are gradually and meticulously reviewing everything that we found. One of our juiciest finds, and most poignant for today's video, was the original plans and quotations for the first ever central heating system installed at Dunham House in 1937 by W. Ford & Sons. It itemizes everything from the 1 1/4 and 2 3/4 bends to the chromium plated elbows and nuts. Not to mention the you-know-what. Love, love, love. We find this kind of stuff fascinating, and it's for this reason, and because we're obsessed with restoration and preservation in general, that we reached out to RadRestore. Pete and Hannah specialise specifically in cast iron radiators, and it took hardly any time at all for us to feel comfortable trusting the Dunham House radiators to them for restoration. Now, we spoke in some detail about the full restoration that our radiators underwent in a previous episode, but for those of you who might have missed that, I'm quickly going to recap the beauty treatments that our radiators have enjoyed. They were sandblasted to remove all the old paint. Let's allow ourselves a quick moment to enjoy this. Then they were pressure tested to make sure that there weren't any faults. And then they were given a gorgeous coat of fresh paint. Now, I'm not going to reveal the final colour we chose just yet, but thank you all very much for your suggestions. So, once that was all done, Pete and Hannah gave us a call, let us know they were ready, and we hitched up the trailer and set sail for Stockport.
Cool. Is this on, Jack?
Yes, darling.
Are we filming?
Yes, darling.
You two are so... I'm going to keep shuffling towards you both there. Okay, so we are here at...
Come on, Peter, you're a fully grown professional. Take two.
Are you filming?
Are you joking?
So we're here at RadRestore with Hannah and Pete, looking at some of their radiators. We're collecting our own, which have been fully restored. So what has been happening to our radiators?
Before we go any further, if you're thinking, goodness gracious, those chrome towel radiators are divine, well, you'd be right. They're the ones out of Dunham House, which I'm also getting Peter to restore for us.
Lots have been happening with radiators. They've been stripped down, sandblasted, removed all the paint. They've then been flushed, cleaned internally.
Okay.
They've then been pressure tested at 4 bar. To make sure we've got no damage to the cast iron,
okay.
Any leaks to the gaskets. We've then, after testing, we've then primed them and painted them.
Sweet, because there was one, wasn't there, that was really screwed up
from one did fail.
Yeah.
Oh, saying fail isn't politically correct in 2025, Peter. We have to say there was room for improvement.
It had a crack in the leg.
Yeah.
But we've managed to remove that leg and the other leg and give you some feet.
Forget radiators, you should be an orthopaedic surgeon, Peter.
Which is your favourite one here?
My favourite is always the Princess. They come in obviously various different heights, but whatever finish you seem to have on them, it just literally stands out, probably more than any other radiator in my opinion.
This one looks really cool.
Yes.
This is quite different.
Yes, it's very different and very old as well. It's quite a traditional one in the sense of it's one of the first type of cast iron radiators ever made.
Oh, cool.
It's what they used to call a Bundy loop, and this was actually cast in Manchester.
Yeah.
I think late 1800s.
Wow.
It's a very old radiator.
Now, Peter is being extremely modest here. Rumour has it that this radiator actually belonged to Henry VIII.
And I always love these little like chubby radiators.
I mean, like bay windows.
Yeah, like the little bay windows and like those ones. I don't know why, they're adorable, yeah.
Yes.
Come on then, ladies and gentlemen, seeing as we seem to have tumbled down a rabbit hole of radiator minutiae, which is your favourite? Is it A, the Princess 2, B, the Stalybridge Henry VIII, or C, the adorable Chubster? Cast iron radiators really can be terribly misunderstood. People often have the conception that they are overly expensive and inefficient, but this simply isn't the case. For example, you could buy this radiator for £265, which kicks out 3,500 BTUs. BTUs are basically like calories for radiators, but unlike calories, you want as many as you can get. Or you could buy this piece of art, which not only is cheaper, but it also kicks out more heat. Need I say more? Life is simply too short, I tell you, to have naff radiators. Now, when Peter invited me into his super special secret container, I knew our acquaintance had transcended into a friendship. Now, since we bought Dunham House, I've been a touch miffed that there wasn't a cast iron radiator in our boot room. I'm not sure why, there just wasn't one. So, when Peter started to seduce me with the idea of having a custom, fully restored, giant, antique, wide school rad, I was sold. So, after our 10-minute collection visit turned into a 3-hour radiator nerd out full of tea and japes, we bidded each other farewell and headed back to the ranch. Upon arriving back home, we realised we'd had a lovely new skip delivered, but unfortunately it wasn't in quite the right place. And when you need heavy things moving quickly, there is only one man to call. Now, technically, I asked Rob to tip the rubbish from the bin into the skip, not tip the entire bin into the skip. But that's likely my fault for not having clear communication. Once that was all sorted, and goodness gracious, I hope that skips don't have feelings, it was time for the nail-biting, nerve-wracking task of offloading hundreds of kilograms of pristinely restored cast iron radiators using a notoriously temperamental tractor.
Okay, so we are just back from RadRestore. As you can see behind me, I've got Rob unloading them very carefully with his tractor, and then we're trying to delicately put them down in the courtyard, obviously very careful not to damage them. Let me get up on the roof so I can show you a bit better. I hope everyone watching at home is feeling as tense as we are as Rob carries off very expensive, newly refurbished radiators on scaffolding poles balanced on the front of his tractor. Watching them bounce is quite nerve-wracking. Also trying to make sure that Jack doesn't get crushed or speared.
It's lovely to be an afterthought to radiators.
Now we've just got to try and get them through this gap in the courtyard so we can get them to as close to the house as possible. For tomorrow's really fun task, of trying to put them back into the house and lie them out exactly where we need them, so the plumber knows exactly where he's putting the pipes. Will he bake it, ladies and gentlemen?
It's always important to let your cats know that they're loved. Now, on a side note, many of you have noticed now that our beloved cats are named after Dean and Borgia from the channel My Tiny Estate. And although I'm almost certain you will have done already, if you're yet to discover their content, we couldn't recommend it more highly.
Gently, gently. Please don't wipe out a wall in the process. Well done, Rob. 10 points to Gryffindor. Phew. 2 down, 1 to go. And then we can all breathe a sigh of relief.
Huzzah! Bravo, Robert.
Just want to capture a very exciting moment. JJ is currently doing the first fix inside our house. I cannot wait to see this house with lights on. We've never seen it with any electricity, any heating, but this feels like a very exciting moment to actually see things going back into the house after spending so long, to be able to be putting in fresh cables that we also know and trust that will actually work is such a moment. Very exciting day today. We are going to be putting in all of our radiators. I'm actually going to walk out to the coach house to show you where they are. So last week we went and picked up all of our, sorry, it's absolute bedlam in the house. Last week we went and picked up all of our cast iron radiators, which we had sent off to RadRestore. They have restored them beautifully and repainted them. So really hoping they're going to look amazing in the house. I'm really excited. I haven't actually unwrapped them properly to see. I had a little sneak peek, but we obviously want to keep them protected. Alongside that, with all of our modern radiators that we've ordered came yesterday. So yeah, basically originally when we bought the house, it was a mix of these cast iron radiators and modern. And to be fair, I mean, it's genuinely the best way to approach it.
You have probably forgotten how much of a pain in the buttocks it was getting the cast iron radiators out of Dunham House some months ago, but Julian and I have absolutely not. Which is why I invested in one of these.
This looks like a broken hip waiting to happen. We really haven't got time for you to break anything.
But she quickly changed her tune, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on.
The only problem was we had to have an obligatory half an hour riding round on it to get it out of our systems before we were able to concentrate on actually moving the radiators. Can anybody name this winter sport? Now, as I've mentioned, cast iron radiators are famously heavy, so we whipped up a pair of timber lifts, making the whole process far more civilised. That being said, it still took JJ, Lewis, King Julian and myself to wrestle the first floor radiators up the stairs and into their forever homes. Jazzy is very understanding on the whole, and there really are only two things that can cause her to have a whole entire world collapsing sense of humour failure. The first is if she gets hungry, the second is if she gets cold. So having a cold home is not an option. Cast iron radiators would absolutely do the job here at Dunham House, but because our insulation is laughable, we have single glazed windows and 8 open fires, we have decided to supplement our heating, as the last owners did, with some bells and whistles modern panel radiators as well. Don't mind my brand spanking new EH Thorn WBC beehive, I'll be showing you that in excruciating detail very soon.
Alongside collecting our radiators from RadRestore last week, we also were lucky enough to have a look at some of the radiators they've got in stock, some of the old ones that they had. Jack got a bit overexcited.
That must be a different Jack, because I am the epitome of calm and collected.
And before you knew it, we've now got another radiator coming. They're going to restore it and do a really fantastic finish on it that we're really looking forward to seeing. And we're going to be putting it along this back wall here. Where's my finger? That way. There you go. In the boot room. So Jack's just measuring out now, so we know exactly how big we've got want it. It's going to be a real statement wall in the boot room, and we're going to be putting like coat hooks above it and lights. So yeah, it will look really cool.
So now you know what happened between me and Peter in that container. We shook hands on a secret, super duper radiator. Perfect for our boot room.
So, big plans this wall. Statement radiator, cupboard at the end. Going to keep the servant's bell probably where it is. So thinking here 2 statement lights that kind of hang over, and then like a top shelf where we can put hats, and then the radio here, give out loads of heat in this room because it's a really cold back room. So this will just kick out all your heat, and it will keep it won't block out any cupboards when you walk in this door. There's not going to be anything in your way.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
That's how I see it in my mind.
Right, let's stop faffing about and get these radiators in. So, there we have it, ladies and gents. We are one small step closer to hosting Christmas this year. All we need is the actual heating pipes. Jazzy has also seen this radiator, which she adores for the upstairs ensuite, but it is heinously expensive. So, I've said to her that if we get more yes votes than no votes in the comments, she can buy it with the proceeds from my car, which we sold a few weeks ago. Let the voting begin. Make sure you check out this week's priceless peach of a Treasure Tuesday. Or perhaps I should say, auspicious asparagus. Next week we have an extra special Dunham House on tour road trip episode for you all. We are heading off to France, ostensibly to celebrate the wedding of our dear friends Sam and Grace, but we'd be lying if we said we weren't also going to go treasure hunting for antiques, reclamation and furniture. Au revoir mes amis, merci comme toujours de nous rejoindre ici. TTFN.